Joining me now is somebody that has been right in the thick of exposing Russiagate since day one. He has seen what the Bidens have been getting away with for years. He is also an attorney. If anyone can give actionable advice, it's Blaze TV's own, the great one, Mark Levin. Mark, welcome to the program. I saw something on MSNBC, and I wanted to get your comment on it. Watch this clip and listen carefully to what he says.
This week, after 4 months of endless investigations, weeks upon weeks of conspiracy-addled Fox cameos, and countless promises of seismic revelations of a Soprano-esque Biden family criminal enterprise, James Comer and his Republican allies on the House Oversight Committee held a press conference, to announce, wait for it, drum roll please, nothing, nada, zilch, no evidence connecting President Biden to any wrongdoing whatsoever. All of that work and innuendo to produce a 65-page memo showing no specific allegations of a crime.
Mark, is this a case of the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law, that they did everything absolutely legal? It's just incredibly unethical and against everything we stand for.
First of all, this guy, whomever he is a propagandist. And let me help him out here a little bit, even though I think he's beyond redemption, which is this. When your family members receive multi-millions of dollars from the Communist Chinese, a front group that is spread to 9 family members through 20 shell corporations, when your father is vice president of the United States, and he's given as the point man to deal with the Communist Chinese and other countries that have loaded up the Biden bank accounts with money, that is worth a special counsel under the existing special counsel regulation, period. That's number one. Number two, this money didn't flow into the Biden family, 9 members and 3 grandchildren, because of their competence in anything or their knowledge about anything. They bought this family off. And so when you have a fool like this guy on MSNBC, and there's many of them in the phony media, they are telling you that this effort to conceal the purpose of the money has succeeded, because you can't prove that these companies were set up and the money didn't go to Biden. So the Biden crime family sets up these methods for concealing the money and concealing where the money goes. And these people say, because they're really Democrats, and these people say, and you can't prove otherwise. It's really an amazing thing. First of all, Congress is not a criminal investigatory operation. We know that.
And that's the problem, isn't it, Mark? Because we've seen, if you bring anything up, it goes to D.C. court. There's not a chance you're going to get a fair trial in D.C. if you're a conservative. And no Democrat's ever going to have a bad outcome in D.C. But you also, Congress can do whatever they want, but they have to recommend prosecution and investigation and furthering of something to the Justice Department. The Justice Department can say, no, we're not doing it. So that's what we're trying to get to here, is there's got to be a way that we're not gaming the system. We are using the system to apply pressure to make sure these people go to jail, or at least see the inside of a courtroom.
Well, it's complicated, but there are 2 things Congress can do. Number one, slash the budget of the FBI and the Department of Justice. I mean, slash it big time, break it up, redistribute its power, take some power away from it, because I can tell you now, if the framers today woke up and looked at this FBI, they'd say, what the hell have you done to yourself here? We didn't give this entity any authority. We didn't even create this entity, let alone the Department of Justice. And this FBI, whether it's the Durham situation, or what it's doing to Trump now, or what it's doing to parents or Catholics or anything else, it is the American Stasi. So the Republicans should just keep pressing the case to slash the budget. I was contacted by former Congressman Bob Walker, who you may want to have on one day, and he worked with Newt Gingrich years ago from Pennsylvania. And he said there's a way for one member of the House of Representatives to go to the floor of the House and to force cutting in specific areas of the budget as long as he has the support of the chairman of the Rules Committee. And I honestly believe Kevin McCarthy, who's one of the finest speakers we've ever had, that's what he's turning out to be.
I hope you're
would
right.
absolutely support that effort. That's number one. Number two, they ought to drag these guys before these committees left and right and just work them over. I mean, harass them, get their documents, do whatever they have to do, make everything public to we, the American people, not for the New York Times or fools like MSNBC, but for the rest of the American people. We have in the Oval Office today a Manchurian president. Mm-hmm. And I would also add to the local DAs out there and the state attorneys general, what are you sitting around about? You ought to be looking at every law you have like the Democrats do in Manhattan and Atlanta and everywhere else. And you ought to see if there's any wire fraud issues related to you, any bank issues related to your state. You should demand to look into all these shell corporations, all these businesses. What is it? The moron who's the attorney general of New York, the radical leftist, can do this? But we don't have an attorney general anywhere in the United States who can do the same thing to them?
We've already sent things out, but they haven't felt the force of the audience yet. In Connecticut, the Office of the Attorney General does not have criminal jurisdiction. You may wish to direct your inquiry to criminal authorities. This one is, thank you for reaching out. Unfortunately, this doesn't work for the Attorney General's schedule, so we'll have to decline. They're giving us the runaround saying that they can't do it. Even the Attorney General of the state of Texas is saying, I can't. Well, wait a minute. Why can't you? And if it's not the Attorney General, then there's got to be a DA or a local prosecutor that will take these charges up. You have 70 charges just on Hunter Biden alone that are provable. 70.
Well, I would ask this. Is prostitution legal in every state in the country? I don't think so. How about drug use? Is that legal in every state of the country? He's caught on film on his own laptop. I'm talking about Hunter Biden. I mean, they're digging into nothing to get Trump in Manhattan. These guys got to wake the hell up. I mean, if I really wanted to get one of these Bidens, I probably could figure out something. Look, some state attorneys general are stronger than others in terms of their statutory and constitutional authority. But I can't believe there's one DA, Republican, one state attorney general, Republican, who doesn't have the authority to dig into this stuff and should. Because the only way you're going to stop this tyranny is if you use it on them. Otherwise, it will not stop. And we have here's the problem. We've got these Marxists in the Democrat Party. They are driven. They are revolutionaries. They'll take out presidents. They'll take out the Catholic. They don't care. And then we have Republicans who are perfectly happy with sitting back and whining and complaining. If you're a district attorney and an attorney general and you're a Republican and you have authority, well, by God, we expect you to dust off every statute and ordinance you have and take a look. And if there's nothing there, at least tell us there's nothing there. But if there's something there, pull the prosecutorial trigger. That's what you need to do. And these people need to be afraid of our Republican prosecutors, the way that Republicans are becoming afraid. And people will say, well, Mark, now we're acting like them. No, we're trying to save our country. Just like a military battle without bullets. We're trying to save our country, and we've got to send in our forces. We've got to send in whomever we need to send in to start doing serious battle.
But I honestly see this as we're not even out of bullets. We've never put a bullet in a gun.
Right.
These are laws that are being broken. The people that are paid to prosecute when people break those laws are doing nothing in their states. It is time that, I mean, I got to tell you, Mark, I know I would. Would you not make that DA or that attorney general the most famous attorney general in America if he was doing this?
Or how about just caring about your country?
Yeah, I know.
How about you're there and you're watching this and you're saying to yourself, my God, I've spent my career as a law enforcement official. I got elected campaigning on law and order. I can't sit here and watch my country die like this with these phony prosecutors in Manhattan and Atlanta and Jack the Ripper Smith out there as the special counsel. I can't put up with this. And so that is what they ought to look at. And they ought to, some of these guys ought to even be objecting to what this phony special prosecutor is doing in their own states with their state legislatures. But, I think if we put the pressure on, we might have a shot at this. But the idea that there is not even an ongoing investigation of Biden, and of course, the big problem, as you know, Glenn, and we can't fix it, is the propagandist that you played from MSNBC. Oh, look, there was nothing here. There's everything there. And if you're a reporter, forget about prosecutors for a minute. If you're a reporter, you were just handed, massive fingerprints, DNA, and all kinds of stuff to follow. And you're there, that's not it.
I urge you to go to thereckoningguide.com, get all of the information that you would need, and call your local prosecutors, your state attorney generals, or anyone else that actually has some authority to look at the crimes and begin to use the law the way it was intended to stop bad guys. Mark, thank you.
God bless you, my friend.